we are back with the age-old question. Should you do a traditional or a Roth 401k? The answer is, if you follow this strategy, traditional almost always wins out, to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars down the line. And today I'm going to show you how. Now, the main advantage that everyone knows about for a traditional account is that it lowers your tax burden now, but and this is the part many people don't realize, depending on your tax bracket, that could mean substantially more investable income. That's why, with rare exceptions, I don't think I'd ever opt for a Roth 401k, even if tax rates in the future were to rise substantially. It all comes down to this one very simple yet very powerful tweak. When you invest in the traditional 401k, you then have to invest the tax savings that you're generating somewhere else. If you do that, a traditional 401k and a Roth IRA or taxable brokerage account on the side will produce net more money in the future than just investing in a Roth 401k on its own. If you're in the 24% marginal tax bracket and you contribute the full $22,500, that is an annual tax savings of about $5,400. Because here's the often overlooked nuance that our strategy relies on. Roth contributions are taxed top down, starting at your highest marginal tax rate. But traditional withdrawals and retirement are taxed at your effective tax rate. They're taxed like earned income, which means you pay taxes bottom up on your withdrawals. The first 10,000 or so is going to be taxed at 10%. The next 30,000 or so will be taxed at 12%, and so on. That also means you get the benefit of the standard deduction. So even if tax rates go up, we are still comparing today's marginal, remember, highest rates to the future's effective, remember, bottom up and lower tax rates. It's also worth noting that there are ways to get your money out of a traditional 401k tax-free too. We have done episodes on tax-free retirements before that we'll link in the description. So to prove this out, I did an experiment, and remember, if you decide to run the numbers for yourself, your marginal tax bracket might be lower than you think after your standard deduction. So be sure to subtract the standard deduction from your gross income before you assign yourself into one of these buckets. So which path would get you further ahead? Investing in a Roth 401k and paying the taxes now, or investing in a traditional 401k and investing your tax savings somewhere else, preferably in a Roth IRA for tax diversification. We're using a 25-year working timeline, the maximum contributions every year, 3% average inflation applied to both purchasing power and contribution limits, a 7% average rate of return, and an earner in the 24% marginal tax bracket, since that earner falls somewhere in the middle. And don't worry, I also ran the numbers for the 12% group for whom the tax savings up front would be the smallest. We're not going to worry about state taxes today, but consider them personally. If you work in a high state tax state like California and you plan to retire in a low or no state tax state like Florida, prioritizing traditional tax savings now is even more of a no-brainer. Someone using this strategy in the 24% marginal tax bracket would have $2 million in their 401k after 25 years. Had they invested their tax savings every year somewhere else, assuming the same parameters, they would also have $492,000 in another account, whether a Roth IRA or a taxable brokerage account. We'll link the spreadsheet in the description so you can see for yourself. Had you contributed to a Roth 401k, you'd still have that $2 million balance that you could draw down on tax-free, but you wouldn't have the other $492K that you generated in the traditional 401k example by investing the extra take-home pay your tax savings generated for you. So now it's time to start drawing down, right? You've retired, you've got your $2.5 million between your two accounts, and it's time to F around and find out what your safe withdrawal rate on $2.5 million is at 4%. It's $101,548. Now, this has the purchasing power of around $48,500 in 2023. So if you assume 3% inflation annually between now and 2048, we will just adjust our tax brackets accordingly. You'll withdraw your $101,500, assuming you withdraw all 4% of it from the 401k, you'll pay taxes on the entire amount, though note that you could take $82,000 from the 401k and the other $19,000 from the Roth IRA or taxable brokerage bonus account, and your tax liability would be even lower. But assuming you pull your entire 4% withdrawal from the 401k, if you're single, you'll set aside about $8,500 to pay the taxes for a net income of $92,900, and if you're married living on one set of retirement accounts, you'll set aside about $4,800 to pay the taxes for a net income of about $96K. If you're married and both people in the couple are doing this with their own retirement accounts, you'd basically double everything. Not bad, right? Compared to the highest marginal tax rate in your working years that you would have paid on Roth contributions. If you have a ton of taxable income from another source, like real estate investing income, a business you still own and earn from, or another massive qualified account, your tax rate is different because your income is different. But if you're only relying on your 401k and maybe a Roth IRA and taxable account for your retirement income, this holds up. So, did this strategy produce more money than drawing down directly from the Roth 401k? Well, it's relatively simple to answer that question because had we gone Roth only, our 401k value would still be the same. We just don't have that bonus account that was funded by the tax savings. If we had a Roth 401k worth the same $2 million based on the same contributions and returns, our 4% withdrawal would be $82,000 tax-free. That is, you have no taxes to pay, but as you can see, your net income is lower than the $93,000 you would have gotten single or the $97,000 you would have gotten married filing jointly because your overall portfolio value is lower, thereby lowering your saved withdrawal rate. When we run the same scenario but at a 12% marginal tax rate, it nets a traditional plus invested tax savings outcome of $2.3 million. This generates a 4% saved withdrawal rate of $92K, which has the purchasing power of about $43,000 in today's dollars. If you're single, your effective federal tax rate would be 7.96% on that amount, and if you're married, it would be 4.05%, thereby making your married filing jointly net income about $88,000 and your single net income at about $84,600. The Roth outcome is a tax-free withdrawal of $82,142. This means even in the 12% bracket, as someone who's filing single in retirement, you still end up with about $2,000 more in the traditional plus tax savings example. That said, it's definitely close, and the 12% marginal tax bracket is probably a case where the outcome is going to be such a toss-up that Roth might make more sense, since other major factors changing could tip the scales in its favor. My ultimate strategy is to go traditional 401k and then invest the tax savings in a Roth IRA. But you could also use a taxable brokerage account, because think about it, you'll never pay taxes on that Roth IRA ever again, thereby giving you both tax diversity and access to incrementally more investable income now and investment income later. For our full traditional versus Roth deep dive, check out our podcast episode linked in the description. We'll go into all the other complexities and nuances that factor in. And of course, we are projecting things 25 years into the future, and we are doing so in a vacuum. There are other factors at play in people's lives that don't allow things to play out really neatly in real life. But that said, I am pretty confident in the fact that there is an excellent chance the traditional 401k is almost always going to be the preferable choice as long as you invest your tax savings. You've probably heard me talk about M1 Finance on the show before because it is one of my go-to brokerages for my taxable investing. But they just sweetened the pot with a new offering, a high-yield savings account with a 5% annual percentage yield. Yes, 5%. This is the highest rate I have seen anywhere so far, and accounts are FDIC insured up to $5 million. Signing up for my account only took about 60 seconds, and much like the rest of my taxable investing with M1, the process was super smooth. If you're saving up for a big purchase like a home, a car, or even just want your emergency fund to maintain purchasing power over time, the 5% high yield savings account from M1 Finance is a great option. You got $50,000 for a down payment waiting, you can earn $2,500 per year in interest. To access, become an M1 Plus member for $95 per year with the M1 Plus APY of 5%. If you kept a minimum of a $1,900 balance in your account, the annual Plus fee would be covered by the interest earned. Before we go, comment below what you thought the most interesting part of our breakdown was, and remember to like and subscribe to our channel. I will see you next week, same time, same place on The Money with Katie Show.